Hey, Stoic friends. Welcome back to the channel. Loneliness doesn't mean you're broken. It means the world hasn't caught up to your level of growth yet. The deeper you evolve, the fewer people understand your path. And Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, master of the inner world, understood this better than anyone. He ruled nations, yet wrote to himself in silence. Why? Because real power is born in solitude. Loneliness isn't your enemy. It's your mirror. It shows you who you are without the noise, without the applause, without the distractions. And if you learn to master that space, if you learn to walk alone with strength, you become unstoppable. This video isn't for the crowd pleasers. It's for the quiet warriors, the men who've been overlooked, underestimated, even abandoned, but who never gave up. Today, I'm giving you 7 unshakable Stoic strategies, straight from the mind of Marcus Aurelius, tailored for the man who walks alone. These are not just quotes. These are battle-tested truths. Lessons designed to build unshakable confidence, emotional discipline, and a mind that bends for no one. Because when you understand how to use solitude the way the Stoics did, it becomes your edge, your training ground, your armor. So, if you've ever felt like no one understands your mission, if you've ever sat in silence wondering when the breakthrough comes, this is your answer. It doesn't come from the world, it comes from you. Before we begin, smash that like button, drop a comment below that says, "I walk alone, but I walk strong," and subscribe. Because this channel isn't just content, it's your sanctuary for clarity, power, and mental warfare. This is how we build from the inside out. Point 5. We'll unlock the mindset shift that turns isolation into absolute inner respect. Stay locked in. Let's get into it. 1. Strengthen your inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In solitude, you don't collapse. You consolidate. You stand within the walls of your inner citadel, the invisible fortress that no one else can see, but everyone eventually feels. And in that space, you make a decision. Either be ruled by the noise of the world or become the ruler of your own mind." Most people run from solitude because they're terrified of meeting themselves. They drown in distractions, chase meaningless validation, and cling to chaos to avoid stillness. But the Stoic doesn't run. The Stoic trains. You don't just sit in the silence, you sharpen yourself in it. You build mental muscle where most people crumble. How? Through discipline. You get up early when no one's watching. You train your body because resilience starts in the flesh. You read daily to refine your mind, not to impress, but to understand. You journal, not for show, but for clarity. You write out your thoughts, your mistakes, your wins, because mastery demands self-reflection. You make promises to yourself, and you keep them, especially when no one else sees. That's how your inner citadel is built, brick by brick, decision by decision, day after day. When you're alone and no one is watching, you either become soft or you become a weapon. You either fall apart or you forge the discipline that makes you unshakable. And here's the truth. The world doesn't owe you peace. The world doesn't hand out confidence. But in your citadel, you build both. You don't need people to validate your strength when you validated it in private. You don't need applause when your habits are already making noise. You don't need anyone to pick you when you've already chosen yourself. This is where power begins. Not in crowds, not in noise, but in the silent, brutal consistency of a man building himself from within. And when the world finally meets you, they won't understand your strength. They'll only feel it. Because you don't rise from approval. You rise from the discipline you forged in silence. That's the citadel. Guard it. Grow it. Become it. 2. Don't depend on outside approval. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That contradiction is what keeps men stuck in doubt, stuck in fear, stuck in cycles of silence that don't come from power, but from insecurity. This is the trap that kills lonely men. Not the solitude, but the obsession with who isn't clapping, who isn't watching, who walked away. That obsession becomes a prison. The key? Stop seeking validation. Stop posting every move, hoping someone applauds. Stop tailoring your worth to match their approval. The Stoic doesn't build for likes. He builds for legacy. Your value doesn't rise when they praise you. Your value doesn't fall when they don't. It is constant, unshakable, real. You must become that rare man who walks into a room and doesn't need a single person to notice, because he's already certain of who he is. Speak less. Prove less. Build more. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe yourself results. Let your discipline speak. Let your consistency echo. And if no one applauds, applaud yourself. That's power. Real confidence isn't loud. It's rooted, grounded in truth, not trends. The man who needs approval will forever bend to fit in. But the man who approves of himself stands straight no matter who's watching. You don't need their support to keep going. You don't need their congratulations to feel proud. Most people won't understand your silence. That's okay. Your silence isn't for them. It's for your focus. When you drop the need for permission, you unlock a level of peace most will never know. Approval is a drug, and like all drugs, it gives you a high, but then it leaves you empty. Break the addiction. Set yourself free. Your purpose was never meant to be filtered through other people's opinions. If you're walking alone, let that be your advantage. No noise, no distractions, just direction. And when the time comes to speak, you'll do it not to be heard, but because what you've built speaks for itself. You don't need their eyes on you to rise. You just need your own. Stand tall, walk forward, and understand this truth. When you stop chasing applause, you start moving in real power. 3. Control your response, not the world. You have been made strong enough to endure it, so endure it. Marcus Aurelius knew that pain, hardship, and isolation weren't punishments. They were assignments. They were not obstacles meant to break you, but invitations meant to forge you. And what separates the Stoic from the average man is this: he stops trying to control the world and instead masters his response. That is where your power lives. The world will betray you. People will misunderstand you. Storms will come, unannounced and merciless. But none of that can break you unless you surrender your reaction. When the support disappears, when the calls go silent, when the love fades, don't collapse. Don't spiral. Don't beg for things you cannot govern. Pause. Breathe. Recenter. Because in that breath, you reclaim control. You ask yourself one question: what can I control right now? You can't control how they treat you, but you can control how you treat yourself. You can't control the opinions of the world, but you can control the discipline you hold when no one's watching. You can't control the outcome, but you can control the input. Your breath, your focus, your next step. That is your kingdom. That is your battlefield. That is your edge. Most people waste their power trying to bend the external. They manipulate. They overthink. They over-explain. But the Stoic man knows better. He changes the internal. He builds a fortress within. And that shift makes all the difference. Because when you realize you don't need to control the world to win, you become unstoppable. Life will always be unpredictable. People will always be inconsistent. But your response? That can be trained. That can be sharpened. That can become a weapon. So start there. Build there. Ground yourself in the power of self-command. That's not weakness. That's not passivity. That's control, the highest form of strength. Let others scream, chase, panic. You move with clarity, with poise, with precision. You win not by dominating the world, but by dominating yourself. The Stoic man doesn't flinch in chaos. He stands calm in the eye of it, because he's mastered the only thing that matters, his response. 4. Embrace the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." That isn't a suggestion. It's a survival tactic. Because loneliness doesn't live in your environment. It lives in your thoughts. And most of those thoughts aren't rooted in the now. They're rooted in regret about what happened or anxiety about what might. The lonely man suffers twice. First from isolation, then from the stories he tells himself about it. The Stoic rejects both. He doesn't rewind the past. He doesn't fast forward the future. He grounds himself in one simple, powerful place, the present moment, right here, right now, this breath, this decision, this step. The past cannot touch you unless you bring it back with your thoughts. The future cannot hurt you unless you let fear create a false reality. When you wake up in the morning, don't start by checking your phone or thinking about what went wrong yesterday. Start by breathing, slowly, deeply, intentionally. Ask yourself, what can I do today to become stronger? That's it. That's your work. Not to fix the past, not to control the future, but to own the now. The Stoics knew this was the ultimate strength, because the present moment is where your power lives. It's where discipline is forged. It's where clarity returns. And it's where confidence is built, step by step, breath by breath. So when the noise creeps in, when the doubt whispers, when the loneliness feels overwhelming, pause. Come back to this moment. Journal what you feel, not to escape it, but to understand it. Write it out so your mind doesn't have to carry it like a weight. Go outside, feel the sun, feel the air, lift something heavy, move your body, do something with your hands, anchor your mind with action. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't obsess over the outcome. Just move, even if it's slow, even if it's small. Action is what separates the Stoic from the anxious. Stillness is strength, but stagnation is not. The man who embraces the now becomes unbeatable. He becomes focused, not distracted by fantasies, not paralyzed by memory, but present. And in that presence, he finds his power. Because you are not broken. You are not behind. You are not alone in your struggle. You are simply becoming. But becoming only happens here, in the now. Make this moment count. That's where your healing lives. That's where your comeback begins. And that's where you rise. Not later, not soon, but now. 5. Rise above neediness. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." And the problem with most men today is not that they are alone. It's that they're aimless. They sit in solitude, not sharpening themselves, but shrinking. They let loneliness eat at their confidence. They mistake the absence of people for the absence of worth. But a man of ambition doesn't crumble when he's alone. He becomes a weapon. The Stoic doesn't chase validation. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't water himself down just to be accepted by others who aren't even clear on their own values. He stands firm, alone if necessary. Because true power is not found in being liked. It's found in being aligned. Most men fall into the trap of neediness. They text first. They over-explain. They overgive. They overcompensate. And every time they do, they trade power for approval. But approval is not the goal. Excellence is. The Stoic understands this. If you have to shrink to be loved, it's not love, it's control. And he refuses to be controlled by insecurity. Let your loneliness turn into leadership. Let the silence force you to hear your own voice again. Use this season, not to seek, but to build. Build a vision that excites you. Build a body that protects you. Build a mind that no chaos can touch. Your job is not to be wanted. It's to become so undeniable that those who ignored you feel the weight of their absence. But you don't need revenge. You don't even need acknowledgement. You just need movement, discipline, vision. And solitude is the perfect soil to grow all three. Neediness dies when you have something to wake up for. A reason, a mission, a calling. It dies when your standards rise higher than your loneliness. That's what Marcus Aurelius lived. That's what every Stoic practiced. Not dependency, but direction. So stop explaining. Stop pleasing. Stop trying to be liked. Be respected. Be focused. Be untouchable. You don't attract better by becoming less. You attract better by becoming more. More disciplined, more driven, more whole. When you rise above neediness, you don't just become strong, you become free. And freedom is what every powerful man is truly after. 6. Turn solitude into self-discovery. Loneliness is not emptiness. It is clarity. Marcus Aurelius spent long hours in silence, reflecting, journaling, meditating. Not because he was broken, but because he was wise. You must do the same. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Who am I without the noise? What do I stand for? These questions don't get answered in crowds. They get answered in stillness. Use this time alone to discover your mission. Not your job, not your status, your purpose. Study philosophy. Take walks in silence. Listen to your instincts. Build emotional control like a warrior sharpens his blade. That is how the Stoic man becomes unshakable, from the inside out. Solitude is the forge of your identity. It is the quiet where your true self emerges, where distractions fall away, and only the essential remains. This is your moment to build depth, to strengthen your inner voice so that when the world gets loud, you remain unmoved. In solitude, you learn patience with yourself. You recognize that growth is not instant. It's a slow, steady climb. The Stoic embraces the discomfort of being alone because he knows it's the only way to fully meet himself, without masks or distractions. This is not loneliness as punishment. This is loneliness as preparation. Preparation to rise above chaos, to live with purpose, to lead with conviction. When you master solitude, you master yourself. You build a fortress so solid that no external storm can shake you. This clarity turns pain into wisdom, isolation into power, and silence into your greatest ally. Make solitude your training ground. Journal your thoughts honestly. Meditate to calm the mind. Reflect on your actions and intentions daily. This is how the lonely man becomes a king in his own right. Not by crowds, but by conviction. Not by noise, but by clarity. Not by approval, but by truth. Embrace this time alone as your greatest gift, because when you do, you'll walk into the world not as a lost soul, but as a man fully anchored in himself, unshakable, focused, and free. 7. Remember, this too shall pass. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is like a river made up of events which happen, and a violent stream. For as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place." This powerful truth reminds us that nothing is permanent, not our pain, not our loneliness, not even our deepest struggles. Whatever you're experiencing right now, whether it's isolation, heartbreak, or confusion, it is temporary. The storm you are in will pass. The tides will turn. The feelings that weigh on you today are just passing currents in the river of your life. The Stoic man understands this and refuses to panic or lose himself in the momentary chaos. He anchors himself in perspective and endurance. Seasons change. People come and go. Circumstances rise and fall. But your mission, your purpose, must remain steadfast and unwavering. Your character is not defined by temporary pain. It is forged through how you endure it. When you feel alone, when it seems like the world is against you, remember that time does not stand still. It carries away what is broken and brings new opportunities and new strength. This moment of loneliness is not your permanent state. It is a test and a chance to build resilience. Use this time to train your mind and body harder. Read more to expand your wisdom. Reflect deeply to sharpen your self-awareness. Let the external world shift and change around you, but let your character stay still, calm, steady, and unbreakable. That is the essence of Stoic endurance. To endure is to rise above the noise, the pain, and the uncertainty. It is to hold fast when everything else feels like it is slipping away. Marcus reminds us that suffering is temporary, but strength of character is lasting. This knowledge must be your anchor in times of hardship. It roots you in unshakable confidence, emotional control, and self-worth. You can control your thoughts, your actions, your responses. This is your power. The rest, the opinions of others, the random misfortunes, the uncontrollable chaos, will pass away like leaves carried down a stream. Each day that passes is an opportunity to build resilience, to deepen your discipline, and to move closer to your goals. Your focus must be on what you can control. Fix your mind on growth, not on what you can't change. The river of life never stops flowing, and neither should your personal growth. Though loneliness feels heavy now, it is a transient visitor, not a permanent resident. You are not broken. You are evolving. You are becoming stronger, wiser, and more unshakable. This too shall pass, and when it does, what remains will be a man who endured the storm with dignity, who embraced solitude as a tool, and who rose with a spirit no one can break. Hold this truth close every day. Your time of struggle is the forge of your greatness. The river moves on, and so must you, ever forward, ever strong, ever steady. They say loneliness is weakness, but Marcus Aurelius knew better. He understood that true strength is forged in solitude. As a Roman emperor, he faced isolation not as a curse, but as a crucible for growth, wisdom, and self-mastery. Loneliness isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're on a path few dare to walk. In this video, you'll discover 7 powerful lessons from Marcus Aurelius, designed specifically for the man who feels alone but refuses to be defeated. These lessons will teach you how to build unshakable confidence, Master your emotions and sharpen your self-worth. No validation needed from anyone else. If you've ever felt overlooked, misunderstood, or left out, this video is your blueprint to rising strong. Comment, "I walk alone, but I walk strong," if you're ready to own your solitude and turn it into your greatest advantage. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the mindset strategies that empower men to lead their own lives with clarity, strength, and purpose. Your solitude is your sanctuary. Your loneliness is your launchpad. This is the mindset that separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. Let's get started.